remote, but I think on the other side there is still a chance.
Michael Danby, can I just bring you in? I want to go to our two politicians before we run out of time. Starting with you, a tweet that's come in that I think is worth getting political responses to says, I can imagine if the ALP win the election, they'll look at each other and say, what do we do? How do we fund our promises? Well, I actually think that's an issue for both sides of politics when you look at the amount of promises and the costs included in that. In your case, proactive promises. In the coalition's case, sort of pulling back taxes like the carbon tax. How is Labor going to fund all of this if it does indeed win the next election?
Well, look, of course we're subject to the international economy and to whether the American economy goes up a financial cliff. I don't think they will. I must say, by the way, I was really flabbergasted at Andrew's attack on Hillary Clinton. But the Chinese are growing still at 7% plus. And I think there's every chance that the Australian economy has the ability to sort of grow out of this problem. What would Ian Courtlang and Andrew like us to do, though? To sort of be financially irresponsible and not try and stick to a budget surplus? Of course we want to sort of pay down the debt as well and introduce great schemes like the NDIS. The other thing we get no credit for is this massive deal on the Murray-Darling, which no other previous federal government's been able to get water flows back in that dying river system.
Let me jump in there if I can. I mean, that is true. That sort of wasn't referred to in the last parliamentary week, even though it was a significant reform, partly because of being overshadowed by AWU. But we're almost out of time, Andrew Laming. You get the last word here. Can I get you to respond on the whole economic side of things? Your promises to remove taxes are going to put the budget in as much peril, aren't they, as Labor's promises to enact more spending?
Our promises include genuine savings through a more efficient bureaucracy, which is something that hasn't been discussed tonight. Look, essentially, Labor will have increasing difficulty getting their message out, and Michael's acknowledged that because they structurally have a problem with credibility and with their leader. And so no matter what they do, what we are seeing is death by pilot program. We have NDIS on a pilot program, we've got welfare quarantine on a pilot program. Indigenous Affairs is effectively run now as pilot programs because they can't fund the real thing anymore. They're snookered on this promise around a surplus, and that's why they're not going to be getting much clear air at all. And I suspect it will go right through to the next election, which is only months away.
All right,
Peter,
well, we are out of time.
Both leaders will be back, by the way. It'll be Abbott versus Gillard all the way through. So let's not live in what the Germans called a cloud cuckoo land.
Yeah, well, I suspect you're right on that as well now. We will leave. What an appropriate way to end Showdown.
Who's living in cloud cuckoo
land? Gentlemen, one and all, we are out of time. I appreciate all of your company. Andrew Laming out of Queensland, Michael Danby joining us out of Melbourne, and our twin political strategists joining us out of Sydney, Ian Courtlang and Bruce Hawker. Thank you, one and all, for your company, and thank you for your company for watching. I will see you at the same time again next week. This is Showdown.